Hello, welcome to NextOppSocial. We are your hosts, Richelle Wright and Joanne Buford. We believe entrepreneurship is empowerment, and we are committed to the development and progress of entrepreneurs, providing you with the information you need to build thriving businesses. If you're new to NextOppSocial, we feature fledgling and established entrepreneurs alike throughout the Detroit metropolitan area. Everyone from multimillionaires, subject matter experts, CEOs, best-selling authors, and some of the brightest minds in business. We cover a wide variety of topics regarding how to make the shift from W-2 to 1099 entrepreneurship, strategies for increasing your productivity, how to properly structure and launch your business, and how to market more effectively and acquire more clients and keep them, and all the best business practices to help you grow, scale, and protect your business. If you're smart, industrious, committed to professional and personal development and building financial independence, make sure to hit that subscribe button here on YouTube or visit our website at nextoppsocial.com. Today, we are very excited to welcome designer Mary Byrd. In 2018, Mary launched Accessories by Gigi, which was initially a handbag company that is inspired to create or cater to the stylish and amazing women who made a fashion statement for the elaborate look or everyday casual wear. But now that collection is expanding to kids, teens, and fashion-forward young adults. So welcome, Mary. We're excited to have you here at NextOppSocial. So we'll dive in. Tell us about yourself, your background, and how you got started with entrepreneurship.
Well, I want to start off with saying thank you guys for having me on. I am very excited to be here. Yes, my name is Mary, aka Gigi. And the name of my company, as mentioned, is Accessories by Gigi, where we will focus on handbags for teens, kids, and women, as well as in the near future, home accessories and accessories for men. But we will be starting off with our signature bag, which is called Full Circle. And like you mentioned, we launched in 2018, and what an adventure it has been. From attending trade shows to taking business classes and everything in between. My mentor has been a true asset to me in coaching me through this process on how to pick a product and how to manufacture and distribute it. So I'm very excited about what's to come this summer, actually, and in the fall.
Nice.
Fantastic. So, Mary, I have to ask, because you and I had so many conversations about your Liberation Day, right? For me, what was so exciting about the decision you made in getting started your business, because I know there's a start date, but there's a start date where we start our business, quote unquote, and then there's a date where we step into our businesses, right? And you say, you know what, I'm about to make this happen. And for me, it was so exciting because you did it in the heart of the pandemic. You had what most people would consider, I guess, a comfortable situation. You could have tried to stick around and do what you needed to do for an extended period of time. You said, no, I'm about to draw a line on the sand. This is what I want to do. I'm going to launch my business and everyone's going to know about it. Talk to us. It had to take a little bit of, not a little bit, a lot of tenacity and confidence, but how did you get to that point? How did you build yourself up to make that decision?
Well, I think I need to go back a little bit and to add on to what you asked me a minute ago. I have a background in management, okay? I started a small event planning business back in the day where I did events for business owners or staff retreats, birthday parties, weddings, anniversaries, etc. Then I went into becoming an administrator for a private school, and I was their director of admissions. And I built that department from the ground up. Then I transitioned on to, as you already know, as being a manager for 2 art galleries in the city of Detroit that are also well known. And then an opportunity opened up for me to become, and this is where Joanne and I met, as the business liaison for the city of Detroit for one of the most awesome councilmen on the council members, I should say. And it opened me up to see the needs and deficits of Detroit, the community itself. I was around, multi-millionaire art collectors, and then I was able to see the other spectrum of Detroiters. And that's where those who aren't doing, as well, for various different reasons. That's a whole nother interview. And so what that really catapulted me and became one of my whys. And I'll explain what the whys are. It really tugged on my heart even more so to see the deficits that we have in our community. And yes, it's nice to go to all these meetings and meet all these different, council members and political elects, but I wanted to get into the thick of things. I wanted our company to be successful so that we could be a resource to become an answer to some of the needs of the urban communities. And so that's what drove me to continue on through the pandemic. That during this pandemic, actually, it just spotlighted on so many different areas in the urban community and, the whole United States in so many categories of where we need to focus in and hone in more on. And so it made me say, Mary, quitting is not an option. It's just not an option for me. Now, I know that, there are some brick and mortars, and I know there are some other businesses who are struggling, including restaurants. And I know we'll get into that, but this is not the time to quit. This is the time to reinvent yourself. Will you fail? Yes. Will you be disappointed? Yes. Will you have rejection? Yes. But you shake that off. You look at the blessing and the lesson, and you go and move on anyway.
I love it. I love it.
Pressure away.
Yeah. So a business born out of need, just simply greed, right? I love it. That's just coursing through you. So it sounds like, we typically ask business owners, when did you fall in love with entrepreneurship? You fell in love with being of service and being an example, right? And that's when it's obvious to me you were seaman. It was a wrap. You were going to make your way one way or the other. I love it. So the other thing that really caught my attention, Mary, in our discussions and, just learning more about what it is you've done over the years, was the ideal that, as I indicated before, you started a business during the heart of the pandemic. That took a lot of tenacity and obviously a strong why, right? But you also started up a merchandising business on top of that. And I know the challenges associated with finding a manufacturer, finding vendors, making sure your business is structured properly so you can succeed and earn revenues out the gate. It's not one of those type of businesses where you come in with no money and it's not going to work. Sink or swim, ignorance on fire. No, it ain't going to work in that industry, right? And I know a lot of individuals are interested in terms of what did that process look like? Searching for manufacturers, searching for vendors, branding yourself properly. How did these pieces fall in place for you?
Yes, you do have to have money. That is first and foremost. And you know what? I'm going to expand on that, because even if you have money, that doesn't mean your business is going to be successful, because you still may not know what you're doing. Knowledge truly is power. It truly is. You need both to succeed. You need the resources and you need the knowledge. And so in my situation, I did not have, a big pot of gold waiting on me to utilize to open up a business. I wasn't, handed over a business from a family member. This is truly something that was built from the ground up because of me wanting to be an answer to the problem in our community. And so, again, that why at the forefront, and my family is included in that why, as well as, trying to help the community out as well. But you have to have your ducks in a row. People will want to help you when you're helping yourself. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what are you bringing to the table? What is your investment? You know what I'm saying? Because people will invest in your business as long as you are showing an effort and believing in your business to put money, your own monies behind it. Even if it's a little bit, that's better than nothing. Don't expect to get help when you're not willing to help yourself. They want to know that you have stock in your own company. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And so having your credit, at a certain level, so that if you do need to get a loan, you're able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Utilizing your savings, and some people are also, capitalizing on loans or grants, especially during a pandemic. It's so many opportunities for businesses to get resources, especially right now. And so they have to do research and they have to do homework. Nobody's going to knock on your door and try to assist you. You know what I'm saying? You have to go out and you have to go get it. You know what I mean? You have to be like Les Brown. You have to be hungry. One of my favorite motivational speakers, you have to be hungry, no matter your industry. You have to be hungry to survive and make it. And once you meet that goal, then you accomplish your next goal. You don't stop. You don't quit. You're always on to the next thing. And so that's what I would highly recommend those who are starting off, or those who have existing businesses. And those who have existing businesses, when I was a business liaison, I would tell them that this is an important period in life for us all. You're either going to make it or not. Those are two options. And again, how hungry are you? How thirsty are you to make it? If you have to reinvent your business, reinvent it. If you have to close your brick and mortar, then figure out a way to sell your product online. You know what I mean? And when you do that, you won't regret it, for one, because this is the World Wide Web, that we're talking about. This is expanding our reach at this level, because some brick and mortars will get real comfortable in servicing the local. You know what I mean? But there are national and international clients and customers out here that you can reach out to. So some businesses have gone online and have seen their revenue skyrocket because of that very thing. It expanded their reach, and so it is sad, because some people won't make it, through the pandemic. But even if you don't make it with your brick and mortar, you can still take the experience and your resources to reinvent yourself. Even if you have to start a different type of business, use the knowledge and experiences that you had with your previous company to catapult and start something different.
And man, we're gonna come back around to that. You just said a lot. We're gonna go back around to that. Because I mean, you're right. Oftentimes, you and I have gone back and forth about this, right? I feel like we're about to have one of our typical fireside chats, where business owners reach a point of survival and they almost take an attitude or a posture of "I'm good," right? I got my handful of clients here in the community. I'm able to pay my bills, have a couple steak and egg dinners every now and again, drive a decent car. I can stunt, peacock a little bit. I'm good, right? And then the pandemic came around and it showed people just how good you weren't, right? And that and that the enemy of great is good, right? You feel like you're good, that's usually when you're in trouble, right? You have to keep growing, keep scaling, keep improving. You can't be satisfied, right? In business, because there are a lot of people who are following you, and some of them aren't following you to help you, they're following to eat your lunch, right? So I love the fact that you brought that up, but you also talked about this ideal transitioning, right? So I guess I'll circle back to the question again, because I know a lot of business owners who are in the merchandising industry, right? One of the biggest questions they have is, okay, I have this storefront, I have this business, but how do I transition online? Now, once again, I have to use different vendors now. How do I find them? I have to find a different manufacturer. What does that process look like? Like, what did that process look like for you?
I talk so much. That was your original question about manufacturing. I get so excited. I'm so passionate about business. Okay, so back to manufacturing. You know, I have a story for everything.
Yeah.
So manufacturing is no joke. Okay, I had to learn the hard way. My mentor, Art Cartwright, he taught me how to pick a product, you know, but of course, Mary being Mary, I had to design, you know, my first product. You know, picking a product wasn't good enough. I had to create it, design it, and put a patent on it. And so manufacturing is, especially with my type of personality, I
Mhm.
always strive, no matter all those different jobs I described. If you go back to that employer, they all will be consistent and say, Mary is one of the hardest working people that we know. And I'm speaking for them because I know how hard I work. And so I put that same effort and energy in my company. And so what I learned was I'm always trying to do my best in whatever I am doing. I don't care if I'm sweeping or mopping, you know, at a business or a company, it will be the best floors that you ever seen that day. And so nothing is different when it comes to my products. I want it to be the best that I can possibly present. So sometimes you have to be patient and you have to wait. Sometimes you're not going to get out here, pick a product or design a product, and then the next day you have a manufacturer. Because
Mhm.
even if you do find a manufacturer, in my case, it has to be just like a doctor or any other physician or persons that is going to service you. You have to see if it's the right fit for you and for your product. So I've come across many manufacturers, but some of them were not the right fit for me. And when I say that is, again, it has to be my best. I have to offer and present my best. And so I found a manufacturer, probably about my third or fourth one.
Mhm.
And I thought, you know, that I was good to go. You know what I mean? And so when they finally made the first, not the first, but the last finished product, I still was not satisfied. Not
Mhm.
because I'm OCD or I was just so nitpicky, but again, it was not my best. You know, when you design something, like Erica Badu said, you know, I'm sensitive about my it. I am, you know what I mean? I developed this baby, and when you have a ideal of how you want this thing to look, you cannot just get a manufacturer just for the sake of hurrying up and getting this product out here to make money. If it's not what you have in mind, then you got to be patient and you have to wait and you have to keep researching. And so with that experience, Juwan, and my efforts to wanting to eventually start a manufacturing business in the USA myself for returning citizens, I had the opportunity of working with the city and meeting a lot of people. And so one of my contacts led me to Detroit manufacturers. And Detroit is really known for, you know, manufacturing automobiles, of course, and of course, Motown and making some great hits and music. But I didn't know that we had gotten into manufacturing products.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was blessed to meet 4 different manufacturers in the city of Detroit, Metro Detroit. And that's who I'm currently working with at the moment, actually. And so you have to be patient for one, and you
Mhm.
have to be diligent in your research, and you have to not be quick to just put yourself out here so fast and so quick just to make a dollar. Because what people don't know is when you take your time and you brand it and you market it, and we could talk about marketing, that's a whole nother conversation. But when you do all the things that you need to do to have not a successful product, but a successful brand, it will be so much more rewarding to you. And not just, again, not being selfish. A lot of companies or businesses or startups will do this too. It's like me, 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 me. When you have a why that's other than yourself, doors will begin to open up. When you want to be a blessing to other people and not just, live in this house or drive this vehicle, but you're really trying to make a difference in the world, people will jump on a bandwagon and they will help your business because you're not being selfish, you're being selfless.
I love it. Like, I tell people, when you're starting out in business, you're sometimes forced to choose, right? You either have to make up and work and time what you lack in talent. You also do that sometimes what you lack in money, right? But oftentimes what we don't talk about enough is the importance of relationships and having conversations with people and leading with your why and appealing to people's cerebrum as opposed to the cerebellum, right? Getting people emotionally vested in what you're doing before you lead with the material benefits. And I'm listening to you. And of course, I'm having conversations with you as well. I know that's you all day long. Like, when you talk about helping out Detroit citizens, helping out veterans, I mean, even when we asked you to talk about your business, the first thing you talked about was the issues that Detroit citizens are having.
Yeah.
And I know that's what you're leading with the majority of the time. So you have a person's heartstrings, if you will, or people's passions kind of tied up in what you're doing before you even introduce to the literal product or service that you're providing. That's something I've noticed about you from the beginning. It's powerful.
You know what? I appreciate you noticing that, Jawan, because it is a passion of mine. I don't know if it's my education in psychology or experience even being a social worker. I've done so many jobs, as y'all can see, y'all. But I am truly a people person. And I thank the Lord every day for the given heart that he has given me to want to be of service to people. I am a servant, and God is just using my business to be more of a servant, because in order to have a seat at the table, you got to have a checkbook. And so, it's so much that I can do without it, but it's so much more I can do with it. And so it's just my honor to leave a legacy. This pandemic has just really opened my eyes to see how valuable life is and how short it is, and what I want people to know before it's my turn to go is that Mary was here, that I was here, and that I attempted with all of my power to make a difference while I was here, that I left my footprint and my fingerprint on this earth in some way, and I left it better than I found it, while I was here.
So how and we've talked so much about the big why, right? And because it's not rooted in you and it's not rooted in the things, but I'd like to learn more of, then how did you choose the other why, which is your product, right? How did you, with having such this big, community involvement and the reason behind whatever you're going to do, I think moving forward is probably always going to be rooted in those whys. But how did you settle on at first starting this handbag or accessory business? How did you decide this is how I'm going to funnel that why?
Excellent question. You guys are so smart. I love being amongst wisdom. That's a great question. I think being a designer was just, it was just in me. My middle name is Gianni, like Gianni Versace. Okay. And when I was 21 years old, graduating from undergrad, I was in this program called Dress for Success. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember that. And so that was a program where they helped ladies. I want to say it was nonprofit, if memory serves me, but they help ladies who needed business attire to come there and get these garments free of charge to assist them into looking their best for job interviews, right? And so while I was there getting fitted, for suits, through this program, because like most graduates, you do not have a lot of money when you graduate undergrad. And so I was so happy that this program existed. And while I was there, they actually asked me would I like to be a model for a Liz Claiborne line that was opening at Oakland Mall. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I am 5'2.5". Do you know this? And they're like, yes, we're looking at you, Mary. We know you're short, but that doesn't matter, And so I'm like, okay. And so the limo came. My family did not believe me initially. They're like, whatever, no limos coming to pick you up. You're not going on a shopping spree and da-da-da. And so the limo came and they picked me up. They took me to Oakland Mall. I did a photo shoot. Little old me did a photo shoot with Liz Claiborne, new line that she was starting at Oakland Mall. And I modeled her purses and shoes and suits. And so I was able to take them with me, for free when I left, and went on interviews and so forth and so forth. And I think that also planted a seed in me. You know what I mean? And so I have always loved fashion, high-end fashion at that, beer money, but champagne taste, as you guys know. And so, growing up, I was the only child for about 10 and a half years. And my mom, would give me a credit card to go shopping and wear $1,000 or $500 dresses. And so I was just into this world, right? That is until my younger siblings came and I could no longer afford those things. So I would, long story short, I would go to vintage stores. I got introduced to the vintage stores. And so I would go there, of course, wanting to carry a high-end bag that I otherwise would not have been able to afford, to go into the LV shop or the Gucci shop and buy a $2,000 handbag or $1,000 handbag. And so I found this gold mine, that I could have what I wanted at a fraction of the price. And so I would carry these, I call them, if you guys are familiar with the movie Traveling Pants, it's an older movie. And these pants is to travel everywhere from friend to friend and go on all these ventures. And so that's how I looked at my purses. They had a story before I got them, because they had a previous owner. And then I would carry them and they would take on a whole nother life and story. And then when I was done, I would pass them on to somebody else to live on through them. And so I just had a thing for purses. And so as I told you, I would, eventually I'll get into home accessory and men accessories, but I started off Accessories by Gigi with purses and handbags because that was my own personal passion. And I'm like, if you're going to start off with something, start off with what you love first.
Yeah.
And so I think when you have a passion for it and a love for something, I think it will be even more successful because you're pouring all of yourself into it to make it the best that you can, for somebody else. So that was my long story short, short story long.
No, it was good.
So you identified your passion and your whys. You went through the labyrinth of finding manufacturers. Excellent advice, by the way, especially that piece about asking around. I think people forget that this is Detroit. And so there are plenty of options available to you, but you got to be able to open your mouth and ask questions and find out. Yeah. So now you're out here, you're articulating your why and your passion for what it is you're doing. You have this story, which is an excellent story. Like, we spend so much time working with entrepreneurs to get them to figure out how to tell their story about their product or service, right? It's phenomenal. But now we come to this marketing piece, right, that you've mentioned on several occasions. And of course, you have 1 million people all purporting to do the exact same thing, right? Everybody wants to open up an e-commerce business. Everybody wants to open up some type of boutique or what have you. So you're, one out of thousands here in Detroit alone. how did that impact you in terms of decisions you made and how you went about marketing your business, tools that you use, your whole approach?
Well, I would kind of give my initial experience with marketing to working for the private school that I used to be an admin for. They taught me the importance of marketing. And I want to say this too, that don't despise small beginnings. You know, I want to say that to business owner. Don't despise small beginnings, because there is so much meat and there's so many lessons during the beginning phases that will help you build upon reaching your goal. And so at the time when I was there, I had no idea that I would end up here. Okay. And so it taught me how important marketing was. Now, this is the school that is ran by a multi-millionaire. Okay. And so I had to work with the director of marketing and a marketing third-party team that we hired. And I had a budget of about $100,000, $150,000 every year. And so I saw work with them and help them create billboard ads and print copies and do radio, ads and print advertisements. Social media wasn't as big at that moment, but I saw all the works that they were putting in place to get the word out about the school. Actually, they were like one of the first to cornerstone schools to do billboard ads. We were like the trendsetters truly of marketing and commercials for schools. And I will say that very confidently that we were, because it was like, we opened up the door for other schools to do it. It will come a time where I would be driving on a highway, and every highway I would get on, I would see one of our billboards or bus ads even. I would be sitting reading something and see a bus go by and see, a marketing advertiser I helped create. And so that really opened my eyes to understand the value of marketing, and then I took it a step farther and I started looking at McDonald's and I started looking at Wendy's and Taco Bell's. Some of these are multi-millionaire, maybe even billionaire companies, and they've been around for decades and they're still marketing. They're still marketing the Big Mac. They're still marketing their Whopper. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, they're still marketing the Wendy's shake. I mean, they're still marketing this stuff and everybody knows about them. Everybody knows about them, but there is value in marketing. And so I'm like, okay, Mary, they have something here. Take note, because this is a lesson that you will be able to use later on in life. And so the time is now. And so what I learned from businesses on that level, and then I learned from small businesses, mom and pop businesses who didn't see the value of marketing. Okay. You have to spend the money on marketing. Now there are free ways that you can market, like on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. But you have to, if you want to really become a brand, you may have to spend a couple dollars and put it back. You got to reinvest in your business. When you're making all this money, you have to use that money to put back into your business so that it can have more exposure and even more success. Don't feel comfortable, like you said, at this certain level. Always strive to get to the next level. Don't get complacent or content where you are, because there are always a higher goal and another goal to reach. And I want to see how far I can get. I want to see how far I can go. And the more successful I am, the more I can be able to be a blessing to other people.
I mean, I know from working with you, you took a multi-pronged approach, right? I know you spent some money on advertising on social media, because I'm not on social media often to look at stuff, and I saw you, right? I also know that you were like pounding the pavement. Like you were literally getting out your vehicle and going to greet and meet people and make sure people knew about your merchandise. You mentioned radio. I know you have relations with people who are in radio broadcast, and you leverage those relationships. And I guess that's what I was really trying to tease out, right? Because oftentimes individuals, they'll do a Facebook or Instagram ad once, twice, maybe thrice, and that's the extent of it, right? When you're first starting out, man, you got to kind of experiment. It just can't be one single approach, right? And I remember that. I remember having the conversations with you. I remember seeing you, observing you. I'm on a webcast somewhere, and all of a sudden your name pops up. I'm like, okay, Mary. Like, you were like ubiquitous. You were everywhere for a moment. And I really wanted people to hear that come from you, right? That is not like one size fits all approach. And there are other mediums besides social media, particularly here in Detroit Metro, right? Because we still know, at least, you know, what I humbly believe, that you still have at least 50% of the population in Detroit that aren't checking for social media like that. They're really not. I mean, and if they are, it's strictly for entertainment, or, you know, they're just using their phones to play whatever that game is. It drives me crazy that people play. What is that game called? It's that silly game, man. It's going to come to me in a moment. Everyone I know plays it, but that's why I find most people on their phones playing games as opposed to buying products and making buying decisions, right? So this is still kind of like a traditional market in many respects, and you leverage that.
Yeah, I want to say that right now we're kind of at a whole.
That's what it is. Everybody and your mom was playing Candy Crush like a while
Oh yeah, Candy Crush.
back.
Well, I don't get to play that much because I'm always working. But I will say that and taking a break, we were just talking about this before the show, that there does need to be a balance. There's nothing wrong with playing Candy Crush, but don't be playing it all day long. You got a business to run. So, you know, take a balance, take a breather, but get back in the game. And so what I want to say now is that I kind of halted because I'm working on so many facets of my business right now. It's still in the development stage, because sometimes you have to take a step back to go to catapult forward. And so I had to assess my situation. When I realized that wasn't the right manufacturer for me, I had to reassess my whole operation and say, Mary, what is the lesson in this? There is always, every no and every failure, there is a lesson in it. So sometimes we have to sit still and figure out, what is this trying to tell me, you know? And so what it was trying to tell me was I wasn't ready yet. That wasn't the time. And so with that time, because that was a big loss for me. I lost money. I lost, I mean, I took an L for the team. Okay. And so again, I had to sit back and figure out, where do I go from here? You know? And so what that time allowed me to do was develop my marketing strategy. All right. Coming out the gate, you know, what is it that I need to do that was better or that I didn't think of before? And so that time, that downtime, as I started looking for a new manufacturer, I was able to develop a very good, and I always say her name wrong, it's Rochelle, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Laura, because everybody know I'm horrible with names. And I ask her every time I talk to her. That's how bad I am, y'all. And so it's so beautiful, though.
Thank you.
And so she actually saw my marketing strategy on a project we just finished working on. And I just think that all hands on deck when you want to come out the gate. Of course, you're going to pick up stuff along the way, but create a marketing strategy first and figure out what you're going to do coming out the gate. Make sure, if you want to do print copy, get some professional photos done. You know, unless you're a professional photographer, hire a professional photographer, please. You know what I'm saying? Especially for print copy and print advertising, you know. Now, there are situations where you may be doing some cute little thing on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, where you're taking a picture of, you know, a friend or a customer who bought your product. You know, it's a time for everything. Like you said, some people aren't on there to shop. You know, you have to be able to appeal and attract each type of customer.
Mhm.
If that customer is not online shopping, then where do they shop? And advertise there. You just have to make sure that you have all areas covered. You know, if they're not on Facebook, are they on Instagram? Advertise on Instagram. If they don't have a Twitter account and they have a Facebook account, hit them on Twitter. If they mainly watch YouTube videos, have a YouTube channel. I mean, just make sure that you have all the bases covered. And like I said, those are free. But pay for ads. Pay attention to how many times you're online and you see a commercial, or you're watching something which irritates the heck out of me. I'm watching something and then all of a sudden here comes this ad. And I'm like, what is this? Beat it. I'm trying to watch this. But pay attention because they are marketing to you. They are marketing to your senses. And for some weird reason, I don't know how these cell phones are wired, but whatever it is you're looking up, all of a sudden you see marketing for that same exact thing, you know, over and over and over again. But they're appealing to your senses so that the more you see something, eventually they'll wear you down. Like, and I'm doing a free marketing for Blend Jet, I believe is the name of it. It's these little mini blenders. They're so little, you can take them on the go. And they come in different colors. They're less than $50. Little bitty thing. When I first saw the ad, I was like, I am so irritated with them. They're in my email. They're everything I watch. I see this thing. And guess who ended up buying one?
Right.
They wore me down. They came out with my favorite color, and that was it. So pay attention to what attracts you and use that same method when you think about marketing. You know, because we're all human. You know, you're marketing to another human being just like you. You're also a buyer. You know, we have to remember that we're customers also. And I think we forget about, I think that's a very good nugget to remember, that we are consumers as well. So pay attention to what attracts you to that product or that restaurant or that item.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. It kind of reminds me of something Grant Cardone used to say frequently. He said, you know, your biggest enemy as a business owner or entrepreneur is obscurity, right? And so oftentimes I hear people talk about, well, am I marketing too much? You know, am I going to turn people off? And I'm like, look, for the few people you turn off, you can't market enough.
Right.
I mean, you can't touch people enough times, right? And sometimes I hear people say that, and I'm glad you addressed that. I know that's really been your approach. You've just gone all out and used every avenue, every resource, free and paid for alike, which is how you showed up on my radar second and third time. So I love that lesson that you shared here.
I haven't seen nothing yet.
I know. I know. I'll be taking notes and I'll be calling you up like, all right now. So I don't know. I'm also listening to you, and like this could be a talk categorized like a talk on resilience. I mean, because that's like flowed throughout your entire testimony, your entire talk. I mean, how you failed, you know, had setbacks, fallen on your face, lost money, multiple manufacturers. I mean, in every time you've talked about a failure or an issue, you've come back with this positive expectation that you're going to win anyway, that good things are going to happen, right? And I think it takes a special person. I think that's part of entrepreneurial DNA. Like, you don't have that, I don't think you can be an entrepreneur, right? You have to be willing to get punched in the face and just, you know, do what you got to do and get back and get back in the game again. And I'm counting as I'm listening, I'm thinking about 3 or 4 times that you shared where you could have quit and you opted not to. Where does that come from? Where does that wellspring come from, Mary? Where are you getting the motivation, inspiration? Who are you engaging? Whether it be mentorship, things you're watching, where does this come from? How are you feeding that?
Excellent question. Well, let me start off with God. I am not religious, but I am very spiritual. And I have a direct connection and relationship with the Lord up above. And he gives me supernatural strength. When in my weakness, he gives me strength. That's what really keeps me going. Okay. I believe that we all have gifts. I believe we all have a purpose in this life, and I will not stop until I fulfill it. And so in the good book, it says that all things are possible with God. And even the word spells, I am possible. Okay. And so I just believe that God will open up doors that no man can shut. And I believe that he will make a way out of no way. And I'm not just quoting the Bible or just speaking metaphors or something that I heard a pastor say. This has happened in my own life. That's what keeps me going, is to see him do a mighty works in me and to see him do transformations. And when I get down and out and I get a no or a rejection, I'm human. I'm a female, we're emotional, I'll cry it out and I'll take a few days, sometimes even weeks, to have to rebound and get myself, like you said, back in the game. But do that, guys. Do that. Do not quit. We would not be flying on an airplane if was it the Wright brothers?
Wright brothers.
If they had and I should know that because I went to school in Ohio, but if they had quit, we would not be driving these. Now y'all about to get me preaching. We would not be driving these automobiles, seriously, if they had quit. And I could go on and on. If you look around your home, that was invented by somebody. It started off with a thought. Did they succeed the first try? 9 out of 10, no, they didn't, because it was something new. So they just didn't quit. They just learned from their failure and tried again and again and again, because each failure is a new lesson. It teaches you what not to do the next time. And then eventually, if you keep doing that thing, you become a master of it and you become successful at it because you learn from your mistakes. And so that's where my resilience comes from. And again, going back to your why, being selfless and not keep thinking about you. Some people will start a business because they want to live in this kind of house. They want to have this lifestyle. They want to live in this house or drive this certain car. My mentor would tell me that that's the wet with the water. And what that means, that's one of my favorite phrases that he taught me, is that's gonna come. Okay. If your business is successful, you're gonna stay in a nice house, you're gonna drive a nice car. But is that all? Is that all you want to reach? Is that all you want to accomplish? I hope the answer is no. So once you get that, you just continue on to see how you can be a blessing once again to somebody else. I get the most joy and pleasure in doing these kind of talks, doing my show, and being a blessing of service or financial to somebody else, because it truly is better to give than to receive. I really get something out of that. That is true. And if you haven't tried it for yourself, try it. It's so rewarding. You know what I'm saying? To be a blessing in somebody else's life. So that's where my resilience and my strength and that, no quits, won't stop, don't stop attitude come from, because I got things to accomplish. And like I said, I want to, who knows, how long we have to be here. And so I want to every day try my best to leave a legacy behind so that it can be of a blessing or a tool for somebody else to benefit from.
So we're getting towards the end, and you might have already answered this question because we use that word resilience, but we always ask our guests what they would consider to be their superpower. I think to a certain extent, we could say resilience would be one of them, but I'm curious to think, what would your word be, or what would your superpower you would associate with yourself would be?
And I did, like you said, touch on that because y'all know I talk so much and I love to share whatever I have in me. I try to pour out. But the most important lesson is going back to that not quit. I don't care what happens. I don't care what goes on. Do not, I'm looking straight at this camera. Do not quit. Do not quit. It's not an option. It's just not an option, you know. Will disappointment come? Yes. Will failure come? Yes. Will you experience rejection? Yes. But will you be in fear? Because some people have fear of success or fear of failure. Have all those, experience all that, and guess what? Do it anyway. You know, when I talk on my show, when I go on interviews, am I nervous and scared? Yes. Was I nervous today? Yes. But guess what? I'm doing it anyway, and I'm here. You know, when you first start a business, you're going to be afraid because it's something new. You know, you haven't done it before. But if we get out of our head and do the work, we will be amazed of what we can accomplish. Do not share your dreams with everybody. It's not meant for everybody to hear. Some people will speak life into you and some people will speak death into you. You have to know who to share with. And sometimes God doesn't even want you to share everything with everybody. Some things is just for you. So have a good support system. Have a very good support system. Get a mentor. Listen and be around other motivational speakers and be around other people, like-minded people, and people who you inspire to be like. You know, if you have a person or a company or a product that you admire, link up with them. Link up with them, call them. You'll be surprised. Some people don't just see you as a competition. Some people feel like, you know, it's enough for us all. You know, we're all constantly trying to, you know, it's more room at the bottom. It's more room at the top, I should say, than it is at the bottom. You know, we're crabs in a barrel, this 98%, all trying to get out, all trying to step on each other to get there. Guess what, guys? It's only 2% at the top. It's enough room for all of us. So some people don't see you as competition. Some people, if you open your mouth, like you mentioned before, Jawan, they want to help you. You know, you have to know what your ask is. Know what your ask is. Know what your wants are. Know what your needs are, and be able to communicate that to your mentor, to a bank, or to a person like-minded, and you'll be surprised what comes of it. And so that's all I would have to say is believe in yourself. Believe you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I know we all heard that, but I'm a believer now because I'm doing it. But don't quit. Don't give up on yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to naysayer, even some family members. Now I'm gonna go there. You can't share everything with them either, you know, and that's all right. You know, some people aren't there yet. Be with like-minded people. And if you are with successful people, if you're with 3 successful people, if you hang around them long enough, you will become the 4th.
Perfect. So Mary, if people want to reach out to you to talk with you more or learn more about what you do, or even Accessories by Gigi as well, what is the best way for them to do that?
Okay, so as mentioned, we are doing this marketing overhaul. So I am redoing with my marketing team. We'll be doing a Instagram, Twitter. I don't even have a Twitter account. I'm old school, y'all. So this is I am out of my comfort zone, but it's okay. Get with people who are comfortable and then let them take you the way. Okay. We all got a lane. We all got a gift. So all things Gigi, I should say gigisfavoritethings.com will be my new website that will be coming out, along with helpful videos that'll be coming out later on in the summer 2021. You can look up Full Circle Accessories by Gigi in the near future on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, We'll also have some ads on YouTube. So remember the word full circle, because that will be that's my baby, I call it, that we will launch. And hopefully you'll see it on my website as well as in stores, because that is an ultimate goal, is to have it in department stores and big box stores, either online or in the actual store in person. So I would love to come back and let you guys know when everything has launched.
Too.
And so, even show you the product that I am very proud to have worked on. So thank you for having me, guys. I truly appreciate you. And I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mary. We appreciate you joining us as well. And for those of you listening, make sure we'll put those links and things that she mentioned below. We'll update them as soon as they come out too, so you can learn more about Mary and reach out to her. We'll absolutely be continuing this conversation inside the NextOppSocial after show, which is our community group on Facebook. We invite you to join us there. The link is also in the description, or you can head to Facebook, go to our NextOppSocial page, click community, and we'll be happy to have you inside. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, or visit our website at nextoppsocial.com to learn more about everything that we do. And we look forward to helping you achieve a life of satisfaction and success.